my best to break things down sometimes from an advisor standpoint, and try and, because I know sometimes, you know, you look at this and you hear it and you're like, okay, how does that apply to how I do business? And I'm going to do my best to do that, okay? So this next section that we're going to talk about are the handouts that I gave you, okay? And what I wanted to do was, in this section, we're going to break it up into 3 different sections. We're going to break it up into just a short overview of Wealthscape. So Jen, if you will be so kind to pull up Wealthscape, and we'll go over just what Wealthscape is and kind of point out a few things. And then as we go throughout the day, we're going to touch on some areas in more detail. And then the second part we're going to go through is I thought, and especially when I came on to AIC just about 4 months ago, just so you know, I came on 4 months ago, just sold my business. One of the things I had a difficulty with was just understanding, okay, how do our reps do business at AIC? And so I sat down and I put together these bubble workflows so that graphically you can see the different areas that your business goes through, where it starts and where it ends. There will be a key on there to help you with the different acronyms. You know, we throw around FINRA, DOL, UAO, SMS, BP. I mean, your mind will start spinning because you're trying to keep it all straight. And I don't want you to be so much concerned about what the acronyms mean, but to really get down from a conceptual standpoint how your business is being processed, okay? And then the third part will be, anybody in here uses CRM, right? Uses CRM, so very familiar with CRMs. The CRM here that we're going to be talking about is called Redtail, okay? And what we'll do is we'll talk about the integration that you have, the ability that you have to start a contract, a new contract account in the CRM, pushing information over into UAO, which is our new account setup form, so that it's getting pre-populated for you. And then going from there into Laser App so that you're pulling off your third-party vendor forms like like American Funds or BlackRock. So is anybody here familiar or not familiar with Laser App? You utilize the Laser App, right? So if you utilize it, maybe it's on your desktop, you pay a fee for it. Well, now it's part of the system. It's called Laser App Anywhere. It's cloud-based. You don't have to pay for it, okay? So real quick, as I prefaced up front, I am a money guy. I loved managing assets for my clients, so I get into economics, news, marketing, and all that other stuff. So for me, the platform is where my heart is. It's what I have a passion to talk about. And so there's a lot of information here on the platform, whether it's sitting here and getting market information, economic or world news. You can come down here and you can set up your watch lists. So I don't know how you go about screening your mutual funds, but you also have a mutual fund screener on here, okay? And so you can go in there, you can set up a criteria, plug it in, screen for a specific mutual fund. Maybe you're torn between a couple and you say, you know what, I'm going to go with this one, but I like this one, and I'm going to put it on a watch list, okay? Maybe there's a mutual fund that's lagging and it's not doing as well as it should be, so you put it on a watch list, okay? So there are tools here within Wealthscape. This is the home page when you log in. This is where it's going to show up. So what you have is along the top over there, you're going to have a primary toolbar. Over here, I call this our secondary toolbar. Jen, if you will just toggle over each one of those things there. So trading, this is where we're going to go, and we're going to fill out our multi-orders or mutual fund orders here later. You can just go over to service. Here is where Jen's going to show you, if you see on the right-hand side, opening new account, this is where you're going to go to launch UAO if you don't start off in a CRM. Down here at the bottom, you see transfer of assets. You can click on there and view and manage the assets that are being transferred into your brokerage account. Go on over to tools, please. Up here underneath tools, you're going to, okay, so really the only one that you need to pay attention to on here is going to be the Fidelity Retirement Income Evaluator. We're going to break this out into a module later. I refer to it as FRI, short. But this is actually going to be a tool that helps replace a current tool that you utilize. It's, what is it? Money Track. Okay. So what Fidelity Retirement Income Advisor is, it's basically a tool where you can go in, you can plug in your client's information, and it takes a snapshot in time of their assets and projects out for them in retirement. Tool is limited, right? But it is a very good tool. because it doesn't, while it prints out a lot of papers, you print out 26 papers, probably the back end, 5 of them are legal pages, but it just shows them a nice quick snapshot of where they're at, and then you can make some minor adjustments in there to show them, okay, well, if this is where you're at and you can save another $500 a month, this is what it'll look like moving forward. So nice professional document that you can hand to your clients. Jen, will you please head over to reports? Reports is a section that we are going to touch on today. There will be a printout and there will be follow-up training on it because we both believe that this is an area that's very underutilized by our current advisors, and there's a lot of benefit to being able to run reports for your clients and set up alerts through the alert manager so that when business is being processed through Wealthscape, you're being alerted at certain times when things are being completed. Okay, so maybe you have transfer assets that are coming in. You can alert so that you're notified when the first assets start to hit the account. Because one thing is, as an advisor, you don't want to be wasting your time constantly going back in and checking on business, right? We want the system to notify us as best as possible. Market research and news we talked about. It's a lot of these tabs here, being able to go in there and just do research and things of that nature. And then the last tab is going to be resources. The resource tab here has an e-learning section. She's going to go ahead and click on that. So National Financial has a very robust e-learning system, okay? And you'll see here where it says new hire training. We highly recommend anyone that comes onto the platform to sit down and go through new hire training. They will provide you with some nice recorded videos that'll walk you through different things. So for instance, viewing account information, you click on it, it'll talk to you about how you go in, pull up an account and view that information. So that's just kind of a broad overview of Wealthscape, and when you log in, what you'll see on the platform and some of the things you have available to you. We've pulled out certain things that we've talked about today. Those things will be mutual fund trading, it'll be alerts, and it'll be reports. And then Jen will go through the new account opening process a little later. So what we're going to do now is I really want to spend some time going through how do we process business at AIC, okay? And so we'll go through the areas. We're going to go through how do you process business through National Financial on the platform, brokerage account. We're going to go through how do I process business direct through the mutual fund company. We're going to go through the process of how do I process business variable annuities, and we're going to go through the process. I'm not sure if there's anyone in here that's IAR licensed, but if you have advisory business and you do third-party advisory business, we're going to go through that process as well, okay? And so let's just go through those processes. Let me get through the bubble charts. We'll take a pause and we'll talk about it again, okay? So in this instance here, we're going to go over doing a new account opening, National Financial brokerage account opening. So really what I did here was I said I wanted to separate things as into what is the advisor or the admin's responsibility, what is the client's responsibility, and then what is the back office responsibility, so that you can see those steps and where things move around. So as we mentioned, you start in your CRM. So you're going to log into your CRM. You're going to have an opportunity to click on a client's name. There'll be a hyperlink button that you click on to open up a new account. It's going to shove information over into UAO. Once you're into the UAO, and we talked about acronyms, they're all right here. Anything on this bubble chart is going to be right here, okay? So as you go into the UAO system, you're going to go in there. Jen's going to go in depth about it a little later. She's going to show you step by step how to fill it out. So as you go in there, you fill out your information. In this instance, okay, Jen mentioned e-signature because it's on the platform, right? It's on the brokerage account. You have two options. I highly recommend e-signature, but you have two options right now. You can push the e-signature button, email sent to the client, you give them the code, they sign it, pushes back to you, you sign it, boom, gets shipped off to the back office, right? Happens in a matter of minutes. You do a wet signature, you've got to get the client to sign it, you sign it, and then you have to submit it into our secure messaging system, which is SMS. That system you'll upload the file, it'll shoot it into our back office through BPM. Ops will look at it, they will tell you if it's correct or not. Okay, for the most part, because you're using the UAO system, it's not going to allow you to push anything through without the fields being filled out properly. But they'll look at it. If it is a NIGO, they'll shoot it back to you, tell you what it is. You'll have to correct it, shoot it back to the back office. The back office will then clear it. And if there is any type of TOA or cashiering, they'll take care of that, and the account is funded. Okay? So along the way, you'll notice, let's see, you'll notice I put a little lightning bolt for alerts. We'll talk about this in a little while. This right here is remote check deposit. Okay? I handed out a sheet for you. Is anybody here familiar with depositing their own personal checks through their bank, right? Take a snapshot with your camera, boom, boom, done. One of the benefits of doing things through the brokerage account is remote check deposit mobile. Okay? Very easy, very simple process for you to implement into your practice. And one thing that it was available here that it wasn't available when I was at my other broker dealer is that your clients can actually utilize it as well. Okay? So where does that come in handy? Tax time, right? IRAs, we want to get things funded. Maybe you're out of the office and their accountant says you got to get it funded. Guess what? Write a check, deposit it yourself, it goes in, and you can actually set up an alert so that you're notified when that check gets deposited. Because sometimes maybe a client wants to just go ahead and deposit money. They don't have time to call you. They go ahead and do it. You get the notification. You can call Mr. and Mrs. Smith up and say, hey, thanks. Saw you did a deposit. Just want to see if anything changed. If you want to sit down for a review, it just gives another reason for you to contact your client. So we highly recommend as a best business practice, remote check deposit mobile, okay? Here I have a little screen here. So when you submit business through the SMS system, you're actually going to be notified right there on the screen. It's going to say, okay, message sent. All right, so you'll know that the message went through. Down here, as I mentioned earlier, you can set up an alert for transfer of assets into an account. So you set up an account, transfer of asset form goes out to, say, Morgan Stanley, right? And then they start the transfer process. As you know, not all the time all the money comes across at the same time. So just take note that when you set up that type of an alert, when the money's coming across, that alert gets sent to you right as the first dollar hits. So say, and I don't know if you've run into this, I ran into this sometimes with, I use Morgan Stanley because I can think of a client I ran into a situation with. Sometimes they have proprietary funds that you don't have selling agreements with other people, right? So just because that alert showed up and you were notified that a transfer of asset came in, you still need to go back in and make sure that all the money came across, because sometimes proprietary funds can't come across. You got to have them sell it and then have the cash moved across. So that is the process if you had opened a brokerage account on the National Financial System, okay? So the bells and whistles that happen here, keep in mind, don't always transfer across if you do direct mutual funds, right? Or if you do a variable annuity. So we talked about, you know, Jen was up there, she was talking about the benefits and the difference between brokerage and direct. One of the things that popped into my head as I continue to read more and more white papers to help our advisors is the digital age, right? And having information instantaneously. Well, when you have your business on the brokerage account, your clients have the access to information instantaneously. I heard someone say that, I think it was Invesco, right? A mutual fund company. You have mutual funds at American Funds, maybe you have some at BlackRock, and you start to have this stuff all over the place. You know, if you have it all on the platform, it's a real easy place to not only come and view it all and manage it, but to run reports for your clients, okay? So let's just move on real quick to direct mutual funds, okay? So here you'll notice a little bit of a difference in that on this side over here, right? Remember all this information here where you send stuff off to the fund company and to get the account funded. That happened down here. There we go. There we go. It's all right. Technical difficulties, that's my fault. So as you remember, that's down there, supervision. So it's going to pop back up and it's going to be your responsibility. So similar thing though, you start off in your CRM, right? push the information into UAO to open up your new account. In this instance, and we'll go over this here shortly, in this instance, you have the information in UAO and you still need to get your fund company's paperwork correct. So you will take the information that you loaded into UAO, you will push it into Laser App, and it will pre-fill some of the fields for you. And then you'll pull off the appropriate paperwork from your fund company, and then you will push it back into UAO, and then you can print everything off in one document that's associated with a barcode. And Jen will go over the more details of that here later. Now, unfortunately, e-signature is not available in this process. It is a wet signature, so you will then get your wet signature from your client. You will sign it. You will then have to upload it into the SMS system, push it into BPM for our back office to approve the sale of that fund, and then you'll be notified and you'll be sending that off to the fund company. Okay? So a little bit different process on the back end, but for the most part, everything up front stays the same. Variable annuities, no difference, right? So if you get down what you can do on your direct mutual fund, do the same thing with your variable annuities, okay? So it's the exact same process. And you hear me say, you start with your CRM, right? One of my jobs that when I came onto the company was to help our advisors implement best business practices, okay? And so when you see this, this is our message to you that this is the best business practice to properly do your business. So you start in your CRM. Your CRM is your hub. You push the information over and you go through the process, okay? For those of you who are do advisory business, and I know this may not apply to a majority of the room, but for those of you that do your advisory business, we'll start with your third-party vendor paperwork, okay? You'll fill that out, sign it, and then you'll have to submit it to our back office through the SMS system. Okay? And then from that point forward, it's just like a direct mutual fund or annuity. Go through the process, get it sent off to the fund company, okay? So that is the process of how you do business, and we tried to identify the ways that you guys do business, or touch on all the different ways that you do business. On the back of the handout that I gave you, there is I believe, a front and back two-page information. Shows you the required forms that you will need when you submit business. So goes through the different types of registration types and those registration types and the types of forms that you need. So here's the thing. If you have everything that you have held direct at a mutual fund company, okay, they stay there. They're not getting switched over to the brokerage account. They're staying with the mutual fund company. In your instance, it's a back office thing. It's a number thing so that the client is notified that there's a new broker dealer, right? Because your commissions get funneled through there, okay? So don't think that because you pull that lever, all of your mutual funds get thrown onto the brokerage account, okay? Onto that platform. What we're here to do is to let you know that this is something new for you, and these are tools that are available for you. And then while right now you're not forced to go there, keep in mind, you may not have a decision on your qualified accounts because of the Department of Labor rule coming down the road. Okay? So currently, no big change for you when it comes to that, but potentially down the road, there could be a big change for just about every advisor in the industry. Okay?
So I like to have an opportunity to teach people things, and when I always try to put what's going on into a real world scenario. So how many of you have been exposed in the past to a brokerage environment or been with a firm that had a brokerage platform? Okay, one. So this isn't news to you. You're familiar with how you can buy and sell and everything's all in one account and you can go across fund families and all of that. Everyone else in the firm, everyone else in the room is like, I can't get my hands around brokerage. So I like cars. I like car shopping. I like playing with cars. How many people have ever been to a CarMax? Okay, so CarMax has just about every kind of car you want to look at, right? So if I'm shopping for a sedan, I can go to CarMax and drive a Honda Accord, a Toyota Camry, a Kia Optima. I can look at a Volkswagen Passat. They're all competitors with each other. They're all about the same, but I only have to go to one place. And when I decide to buy that car, I only have to write one check to one company, CarMax. Okay? That's a brokerage account. So instead of non-brokerage, where you have to do paperwork for American Funds and paperwork for Franklin Templeton and paperwork for Oppenheimer and paperwork for, you do one paperwork for AIC, which isn't even paperwork, it's online with electronic signature, and it opens up an account, a basket. And you can say, you can transfer your existing American Funds and Franklin Templeton and Oppenheimer, all of it into that one basket. Or if it's a brand new client, you put that check in there through the remote deposit. Again, no paper that you have to worry about. Once that money is in that account, you place trades. And those trades are the purchases in those mutual funds that you and your client have chosen. And it can be one into American Funds, one into Franklin Templeton, one into Oppenheimer. It's all going to be the same. You got to watch for breakpoint selling. If you've got somebody with $100,000 or $250, let's say, and they would qualify for breakpoints in American Funds, if you start breakpoint selling where you put 49,000 into this company and 49,000 into that company and 49,000 into that company, so you get paid more, you're going to get in trouble. And they do have things in place to watch for that. But it gives you the convenience to be able to use multi-diversification, multi-companies under one statement. And your client's going to get one statement from Emeritus. And they're going to write one check to National Financial for the clearing firm. Is that making more sense? Does that kind of connect everything a little better? Okay. With that said, when a trade is placed now, when a trade goes to American Funds now, there's no charges to you guys. There's nothing called a ticket charge because it's all done directly at the fund company. When you're dealing with a brokerage account, when you place a trade, you have a ticket charge. That dollar amount has not been firmly set yet because they're going through some changes as well. But for round figures and for the purpose of discussion, we're going to say that a ticket charge is $10. So if I go to CarMax and I buy 5 cars, I'm going to have 5 ticket charges of $10. So if you open a brokerage account and you place one trade into 5 different American funds, you're going to have 5 ticket charges of $10 a piece. That's $50. Those ticket charges apply when you make a purchase. They apply when you make a redemption. You can do exchanges within the fund family. You can come out of the growth fund into the growth and income fund, and that has a round trip charge of $10. So it's 5 out, 5 in. Does that make sense? Now, if you set them up on an automatic plan, but a lot of people, it's all retirement plans, and since we're dealing middle America and a lot of younger folks as well, they're establishing Roth IRAs, they're establishing traditional IRAs, they're establishing monthly plans, and you're sitting there thinking, oh crap, this guy's got 5 funds, he's doing 12 purchases a year, that's 60 times 10, that's $600. I'm not making that amount of money on him. If they're on a systematic purchase, if they're on a monthly bank draft, all you have to do is establish that position in the brokerage account. You can either do that by transferring it in from American Funds if it's already there, or by making that initial purchase. And yes, that initial purchase is going to cost the $10 ticket charge. But once you set them up on a monthly systematic purchase, no ticket charges on those. So if it's monthly, quarterly, annually, whatever, as long as it's part of the systematic electronic system, no ticket charges. If you rebalance a client's account, you're doing the exchanges within the fund, then that's going to be every time you exchange, that's the $10 ticket charge. So if your client calls you and says, I need $6,000 out of my IRA, if they have 4 funds and you want to take $1,500, had to do the math real quick, out of each fund, that's $40. That's $10 ticket charges out of each one. That's just the cost of doing business. And I know you don't like it. Nobody likes it. It's more money out of your pocket. But the convenience of being able to have a brokerage account, to have a brokerage system, to have all the technology that we have in the relationship with National, that's just part of that. Now, $10 is low. I will tell you that right now. I've been with 4 different firms in my career, and the average ticket charge is around $25 to $35. If their ticket charges are $10, we need to count our blessings, because that is a really good thing. But the point is, don't turn away clients because of that break-even point.